The war in the west is won. The White Tower of Ecthelion stands. Minas Tirith continues to hold out the flame of hope for all the free peoples of Middle-earth. With the ring destroyed, the Dark Lord Sauron has finally been defeated for good. Unfortunately, his followers still live. Many have run off into the corners of the world, but some still stay loyal to the Melkor's lieutenants, the Black Númenóreans in the southern port of Umbar. In this historic city, the last remnants of Melkor's minions hold firm, taking up arms and preparing to defend the thick walls that defend it. However, with the return of Gondor's king, many have volunteered to take up arms and to restore the glory of Gondor once and for all. Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Jackie Fish and welcome back to some more Total War Rise of Mordor. We are diving in with another glorious scenario battle at the walls of Umbar. This is the last in the series of the Dol Amroth campaign, and I am really looking forward to this one. As you guys can tell from the story, the forces of evil have now been destroyed, and this is kind of like the last remnants as Aragorn himself led the forces to basically cause genocide against the armies of orcs that still remained around the world. And yeah, it should be really fun to see this series off. A massive thank you to Bad Omens and everybody else who played in these battles. I really do appreciate it. It was one hell of a series, some really cool battles, and scenario battles are always just so much fun because it's great to kind of see battles that do lead on from one another. If you guys don't know what these scenario battles are, or if this is the first battle you have seen from the series, then make sure you go back and check out the other ones. But basically, all these battles do lead on from one another. So we start off with battles as the forces of orcs cross the Anduin, and they were pushing in to obviously close the distance on Dol Amroth. And then obviously also whilst all this was going on, we had some really cool stuff as well happening. Let me just also turn up the game sound as well because it seems like it's a little bit quiet. So let's get this stuff up. We want to be raring for this final battle. Yeah, the actual siege towers themselves, the men are quiet this day as they know battle is upon them. But yeah, the forces of evil move closer and closer towards the Silver City, and then eventually there was a big battle for it. If you guys want to go check out how the other battles did unfold, I'll leave a link to it down below in the description. But yeah, basically you don't need to watch them if you want to just enjoy yourself a good old battle with a bit of a story. But yeah, every single battle does lead on from one another, and casualties and stuff kind of carry over. The players keep in mind what they lost, and that kind of influences their army build in the next engagement. So we do have some followers of Melkor still standing strong though inside the city. We do have an army from the Haradrim, obviously defending this city, a city of their own. They've got pretty decent forces, some Haradrim lancers. We also have the Black Númenóreans themselves looking very glorious. In the last battle, if you missed it, we had these guys on boats, and it was awesome to see them navally invade the city of Dol Amroth. Very cool indeed. Over on the right hand side as well, we do have some more infantry from the Haradrim archers kind of scattering around the settlement itself. As we go further and further back, we have the Corsairs, and we have some Serpent's Guard back there, supported by the Camel Riders of Harad. Them guys can do some pretty serious hurt to the battlefield, and we also have some more Corsairs over there. Defending the left-hand side, we do have an army from Harad again, as we can start to see the men of Dol Amroth launching their way forward and actually taking the walls pretty undefended. It does seem like they're not planning on defending this part of the wall, which is always a shame. This part of the wall is actually quite easy to defend if you can commit enough soldiers. I guess they're going to kind of decide not to, and then just use their Corsair archers to hammer the infantry as it comes off the walls. And this is why it's always a good idea to try and defend these, because if you can pin these guys in place up on this wall and then just have these archers fire in volley after volley into their sides, which is always very deadly. However, this wall does seem in tatters, so it'll take a light breeze to bring that down. And then we also have the men of Dol Amroth pushing up this battering ram as well to bring it down. So it's going to be the forces defending, obviously the attacking forces. We have a whole host of men of Gondor and also Dol Amroth, so the Gondorian soldiers from the Silver City will be supported by the men of the White City. And yeah, they'll be very fierce, more than a match for the attackers. Bounce power-wise is in favor of the defenders for now, but I think we'll see that turning around quite easily. The forces of good definitely have the advantage when it comes to manpower, I think, of this day. Let's go ahead and go on normal speed and watch this battle unfold. I've also got a brand new keyboard, if anyone's interested, a bit off topic, but I got a brand new keyboard, and it's, is that right? Oh, that's so weird pressing home. Yeah, I've got a brand new keyboard that I built myself that's 75%, so it doesn't have any of the side keys, so I'm kind of trying to figure out where my insert key is. I think I'm going to have to adjust that myself and actually have an insert key so we can zoom in and take a look at the units as they come off, because if you guys don't know, the insert key is the key to zoom in, as we do have our first little charge here as the camel riders rip into the Gondorian spearmen. Very deadly indeed. Something I will also mention as well, I'll leave a link to it if you guys want to be a part of these battles in the future, whether it's, you know, Rise of Mordor, which we'll get onto in a second because it has actually changed its name, or any other Total War game, whether it's Warhammer or maybe another scenario on a different game. I will leave a link to that down below in the description if you want to check out the mods Discord for the guys who hosted this series. I highly do recommend that you guys do check them out, as they obviously host all these awesome battles as the archers prepare themselves once again. As you can see, the forces up on that hill doing some really serious damage. Of course, they're able to get right into their side. Another volley coming off right there. But yeah, the mod has now changed its names. I believe they've changed it to the Dawnless Days. If you guys don't know, the Rise of Mordor mod did get kicked off Mod DB, unfortunately, due to the name. Warner Brothers set them a cease and desist. So they changed their name, and hopefully that will be the end of it. I'm hoping that there won't be any other issues plaguing them from this, because yeah, that would really suck if that was. But hopefully that is the end of it and it won't affect development in the slightest. Everything is still very much underway, and I'll be sure to leave a link to the mod. I'm not sure if this is going to be going back up on Mod DB. I'm sure it is with the change of the name. I don't see why it wouldn't if they do change their name. But either way, I'll make sure I link it down below in the description so that you guys can check it out as well. And here you go, the first proper clash on the front lines. The Knights of Dol Amroth, the dismounted infantry, clashing in against the spears of Harad. Archers still volleying off though. Hammering down, trying to whittle down the forces as best as they can. And this is a pretty good matchup for Dol Amroth. They'll be able to break their way through this formation without too much hassle. However, it's how they're going to get through every other position, which is going to be the main issue. And yeah, I mean, I think normally this is like the docking area here, the outer part of the harbor, is normally quite a bit like the difficult part to break through, because you're like just so stuck up on the walls and at the gate. But it seems like Dol Amroth have done a good job already at breaking through them positions. And if they can front funnel some more, I guess they don't really have a lot of men positioned out here, which is maybe where they decided not to defend this. Yeah, I guess they're kind of lacking reinforcements. It's a shame, because I feel like if they had maybe a couple more units up here, they could do a pretty good job. I guess they got soldiers here as well. But they are fighting shock infantry on the walls. Yeah, I guess maybe this attack does kind of lack a little bit of extra punch, or sustain power as well. So I think for the most part, actually, the Haradrim might have this with the support of the horse archers. And any other infantry that does decide to come its way in. Yeah, the arrow fire is going to be a big help as well. Just plastering the infantry very effectively. And by the way, guys, if you aren't subscribed already, make sure you do go ahead and hit that subscribe button, drop a like, drop a comment down below. It really helps out the channel. And if you want to see more of these scenario battles, that is exactly what you have to do to get them. If these videos do well, I'm more than happy to start another scenario. So yeah, if you guys want to see more content like this, drop a like, drop a comment. And I'm sure we'll see more of it in the future on the channel. Let's take a nice little overview of the city of Umber right now. You can see the assault is in full force over on this left-hand side. The central parts are receiving some resistance. We've got infantry fighting here and around here in the main courtyard. And then Harad are really posturing around this right-hand side, setting up a nice defense, keeping that position really well defended. And one of the nice things about this position to the left is that the archers can cover so well. And look how effective that is being. There's a really nice trap here by the defenders, forcing an engagement here, and then getting their backs turned. And you can just see the arrows are whittling them down, already down to 75 soldiers. It's just so goddamn effective. Eventually, these Corsairs will run out of ammunition, but what they can do is they can then make their way all the way down here and around, and they can go to this supply barrel and get more ammunition. If I was them, I would obviously make it so that I consistently had one unit over here and one unit going back to get ammunition constantly. That's what these supply barrels do, and I really think that they should be used more as the defenders. The defenders should have the capability to replenish their ammunition. There's the cooldown on these, but I really like it. I like the idea of being able to go back. Maybe even if you just make a bunch of supply barrels in the city center or something and they have to go all the way back, that's an interesting trade-off, right? And it gives a good idea for them to fall back and give them that little bit of an advantage. I totally do understand, though, that it is super strong. And oh my god, the fighting in the streets is fierce right now. Look at this. We have Corsairs and some more of the heavier infantry of Harad just stuck in here. And Dol Amroth seemingly are pulling back. I can't imagine that they've broken. No, they're running back and allowing the militia to dive in and take that advantage. That looked really cool as well, the way they kind of like merged into one big fighting force. That arrow fire, oh my god, there is so much showering the attackers right now. And they are truly having to fight in the shade. And the arrows are definitely finding their mark. They really need to break over here, because these archers are not going to, sustain anytime soon. There's 4 whole units here just hammering this side. And they even need more infantry up here. They need some archers to start coming up. This is another good idea for the attackers. If they can get some archers up here, they can start kind of counter-firing and really whittling down the Corsairs. Because the Corsairs are lightly armored. They're meant for movement. They're meant for speed. So if you can get your own archers on these guys, Gondor archers will eat these dudes alive. But it's just bringing them to bear, and it doesn't really seem like, that they're wanting to do that. Some archers are being brought up now, which is good. The archer militia should do okay against these guys. But yeah, you really want to just try and whittle down their archer force, or at least force them back as well. That's something else you can do. But it seems like the main assault in the center here is kind of struggling. You've got some kind of soldiers in a square formation just kind of acting very passive. These archers are out of ammo now, and the cavalry is continuing just to run amok right now. The Desert Raiders pushing in. This is what, a javelin cavalry, I believe? And the camel riders, they just don't need it. The Black Númenóreans holding the gate once more. That goddamn burning oil that should be removed from every single map. Burning oil is just the most stupid thing in this game. It comes down like a bloody sewage pipe and just does not stop. It should be like a toggleable ability that comes down like 3 times and has a cooldown. But instead, these oh, the arrows! Awesome, nice volley there on the Desert Raiders. But yeah, instead the burning oil comes down as if the walls themselves are bleeding burning oil. And over on the left-hand side, it does seem like Dol Amroth have been able to just about claim this with a nice little move here, getting some of these Pelagian Marines up onto the wall themselves. Sorry, I'm still trying to figure out how I zoom in here. I guess it's going to have to be a button, but I'm going to have to adjust. We can use the home key a little bit more as well. Get some nice little angles in on the infantry. And yeah, these guys are going to be able to throw down their javelins here and really get some good damage down. Yeah, these guys, their kill numbers are going to rack up, I think, pretty rapidly. They're also getting some good shots off into these Black Númenóreans that are still rattling around this battlefield. And yeah, as you can see, even though the spearmen have been broken, The rest of the infantry are still fighting hard. The men-at-arms getting themselves as stuck in as possible. And we're only fighting a weakened spear unit. It's not too bad. Even with the Corsairs arriving and all the arrow fire coming in. Oh, however, it does seem like this unit... Oh, yeah, this is not good as well. This unit of archers have been cut and caught by the really, really elite shock infantry. These Black Númenóreans, as you can see, their armor is glittering in the umbered sun. And yeah, this unit is the strongest unit that Harad has access to. It absolutely tears through everything. And I do not envy being these archers this day because they stand very little chance. So actually, I think Umber are going to take this. Yeah, they just have the numbers over here. So Umber are going to be able to secure that left-hand side. The right-hand side is still under a lot of pressure. And it's not like the attackers don't have enough men. Still 5,500 soldiers to commit. However, the defenders have more than that. The defenders have 1,000 more soldiers. So they've definitely taken their pound of flesh for these walls and are able to really take down the opponents quite effectively, honestly. And the gates are actually still standing as well. What the hell? How did the gates still stand? That's unfortunate. I guess they took them back. However, some more hillmen are coming in from the other firths of Gondor. And the Axemen should be a pretty decent unit to take on here against the heavily armored units. Obviously, they have that armor piercing, which is very nice indeed. And you can see them committing more and more soldiers. The lone horse. Where is the rider? But the skill of the Black Númenóreans is definitely showing. That is for sure. And really, we just need the attackers to commit a lot of it. Yeah, you can see like that's so unfortunate. The militia are now breaking onto heavy missile fire. But these archers are running low on ammunition, which is very good indeed. And you've got some archers over here being set up. I think these archers are being positioned further away from the missile fire so they can fire in over the heads of their own soldiers and really hit kind of like this back line. I think that's going to be their goal, is to really just focus in on them as they throw forward more militia, more routing units, and just break through. Oh, what the hell has happened here? Why have these Pelegrin Marines been committed to the fight? They have full ammunition left. You really always want to use that ammunition before overcommitting your soldiers. Maybe they're just a little bit worried about the archer fire, maybe? I'm actually not 100% sure. Still, they need to be very, very careful. 2 more units of spearmen have been brought up, though, and these spearmen are going to be a big aid at just holding this down whilst these archers get to work. They've got to put in a lot of work as the front line for Dol Amroth is looking very shaky. But it's not like there's a lot here, really. You can see a lot of depleted units under half strength. So if these spearmen just come in and resupply, and even if this militia can kind of fall back and get his breath and kind of just maybe sit outside the city, there's still a big amount of soldiers coming in. And as you can see, we have some of the Haven Guard, the elite shock infantry for Dol Amroth, and we also have 3 units of archers back here who are kind of just biding their time, and also a reserve guard back here from Dol Amroth. We've got archers back here, 2 more units of mounted knights of Imrahil, so very, very good units left to bring up. And as you can see, the attackers are being broken back. They're still holding firm, but the defenders are not giving up lightly with another beautiful cavalry charge here. Really utilizing that cavalry, and in these bigger maps like Umber, it's so useful to be able to do this because the streets are just so wide when you get to these big open courtyards that you can utilize cavalry very effectively. And it's up to the attackers to shut this down. It's up to the attackers to block off them streets and really pin the enemy down. And that's why it's not a bad idea to bring in like your entire army. Yes, you can kind of leave yourself a bit vulnerable, but the more soldiers you bring in, the more of these passageways you can block off and hold the enemy at bay. So definitely, and even just bringing your own cavalry in, but I think they can't really do that because the gate has not been taken. And that's why it's maybe a bit of a shame why they didn't go ahead and bring in like one trebuchet to breach this wall. Because having another breach point could have been absolutely huge. And as you can see, the attackers are kind of doing that. Gondor now committed in. Really closing off these attack avenues, which will really shut down the way in which Umber can hold firm. Yeah, it's a real shame about these Pelegrin Marines. And the spearmen continuing to throw forward. The archers racking up some decent kills now, up to 33 kills. The horse archers volleying off shot after shot as well. And this is scary because if we take a look at the extreme left flank, all we can see is death and destruction for Dol Amroth. And maybe this last bastion of Melkor will hold, as there simply does not seem to be a lot over here whatsoever. And yeah, you can see the reinforcements that were fighting over on that left-hand side. They, I was going to say maybe exhausted, but they're not even that tired, honestly. You can see by the little legs right there on the unit card. More archers being brought around. This is looking pretty good. Cavalry able to push forward, but they need to be so careful because that stupid goddamn... it's being held by Gondor. But if this flag gets taken back by Harad, that burning oil is going to come flying down, and it's not going to be a good sign whatsoever. More archers being brought up as well to fire over the walls themselves. And that was a good volley. But oh my god, that volley was insane. It killed like 10-15 horses there in one volley. Then Desert Raiders obviously already receiving a bit of back and forth. The Haradrim and their battle line does start to look very thin now. But I don't think you could really ask for much more from these brave soldiers. They have held for a good 15 minutes on this flank, refusing to give up any ground, even gaining ground. And finally, out in the distance, the horns are sounding and reinforcements are arriving, looking to relieve these brave warriors of Melkor. Yeah, very much needed. Luckily as well, this is all down to these guys being able to come over here as well. Like, these guys have made their way down this street to hold this line. So that's allowed more reserves to be shifted over to the left-hand side. So it's super effective there. But we are seeing more archers being brought over now. Some of the rangers actually. Oh god, this is a deadly unit as well. The Dol Amroth rangers being brought in. Has that the main gate fallen? No, this gate is still holding. Oh my god, that is so annoying. So less soldiers can now make their way in. And another unit of archers have been brought up. I assume these guys were sent over to that supply tower to get more ammunition. And I mean, this is looking pretty scary for the attackers, honestly. Like, they have soldiers still. They still have 3,500, but the defenders are racking up more and more kills. And honestly, I don't know what will happen if they don't win this. Like, I mean, I guess the scenario is over either way. Because Aragorn's crusades will not be stopped, and I'm sure he'll send more forces to finish off this you know, the last bastion. Another good charge going off. And oh, if they can get a good charge off into the Haven Guard, that'll be great. Any damage you can do to Haven Guard is a must. And it's a little bit safer now to bring these guys in because there's obviously a lot less missile fire on the attack, on the defending side. But it's actually still a decent amount though. So they need to kind of try and make sure they focus a little bit out of the missile fire, because already you can see they're getting peppered by that. So I guess either commit them to the fight or bring them over here. And it does seem like they are deciding to bring these guys back after taking a few casualties from that cavalry charge. But we should be seeing this flank crumbling very soon. The squires are now charging in. And are they going to go after the archers, or are they going to decide to kind of really try and break through in the center here? And it seems like they're going to try and break through. They're going to get a good charge off there, but immediately counter-charge? No, the horse archers deciding not to, and instead throwing in the camel riders, which did buy the cavalry for Dol Amroth enough time to then turn around and engage these camel riders. And 61 kills on them already is not bad, and actually enough to break them. However, more reserves are being sent over, more cavalry being sent over, and obviously they can get a nice hit off here and then reinforce if they want to. I think breaking this corner piece is very important, because then you can get this unit of spears into this fight. Infantry being committed as well, which is always going to be a problem And as you can see, more fighting for these walls. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't bring a battering ram here to smash through this gate. They could really do it. Now Gondor are having to slog it out. I mean, they're only fighting Corsairs, but this is still a road bump, right? The attackers very much still want to be on the ground fighting for these streets where the rest of their brethren are over on that left-hand side. If they can start putting pressure on like all these attack points, and they can definitely stretch the defenders and even maybe come around here with some cavalry hit in, like there's so many possibilities. Unfortunately though, the defenders are just holding firm, fighting with that extra vigor of defending their homeland. And are refusing to give up any quarter whatsoever. The cavalry are pushing in though, more knights. The archer fire coming in as well, hammering these back ranks. Yeah, trying to take down as many of these serpent guard as possible. Doing a decent number of them until they realize they need to get their head out of there. Either commit or get out. And it's going to pull these guys back very much so. Yeah, down to 54 on that is a great win. And Dol Amroth on this right-hand flank have committed everything. This is all they've got. If they are defeated here, then it's over. And they need these guys to get inside the city. But it just isn't looking very good, honestly, for the attackers. As you can see, if we kind of take a nice little glimpse of the settlement itself. There is not that much left. And this assault may be rushed. It may have been sent too soon before Aragorn could really command his forces. More cavalry being sent over, and even some more reserves as well. Another unit of spearmen being sent over here. As you guys can see, like I feel like the defenders still have plenty left to commit here, and I feel pretty confident the defenders are going to take this one unless like a big breakthrough does occur. I think defenders are in a very good situation there. Cavalry is still holding firm, the front lines are holding firm. You're seeing units of archers just breaking. Even with like the elite shock infantry being sent in now as well. This is like the last ditch effort for Dol Amroth. And honestly, this isn't a big surprise to me. Like the city of Umber is well fortified. It's definitely one of the if you have the manpower to do it, it's definitely one of the easier cities to defend. The problem with Dol Amroth, the problem with the city of Umber is that it has so many points to attack, which normally favors the attackers because they can commit their superior force into battle. But it seems like Umber have just had a little bit of enough. And I think they've utilized that cavalry really well. Plenty of men left in reserve there as well. Bringing back that general after getting 61 kills, committed himself nicely. The archer fire is running very low though. There's very little ammunition. And that is adding to the unit count quite nicely. Finally, the brigade has been taken to Gondor, and what remnants of Dol Amroth is left can commit their soldiers. So yeah, like there is still like a lot of the numbers, like what was the 1600 man advantage right now. A lot of these numbers are archers. You know, each of these archer units are 170 men, basically 200, and many of them have very little ammo left. So if Dol Amroth can commit their soldiers, I think they can start to clean this up and really turn that kill count into an advantage. But it's just getting to that point, and if this flank is collapsed, I don't see any hope whatsoever. Right now, it's really up to the Haradrim to break through here. They want to make sure they get their way up here, get on the walls, deal with these archers. And more soldiers are being sent into the abyss. The last Knights of Imrahil are being committed in here. The pikemen, everyone is just a quick rush through this gate. And you can see the halberds charging in. And it just met with more and more force. The center is breaking though, so there is some hope, but these archers are probably enough to clear this up. And honestly, I don't see why more soldiers aren't being committed here. Like, just try and throw everything in, throw the cavalry in, literally throw everything you have here to clean this up. Cavalry on this side are going to be hard pressed to break through any spearmen. Yeah, these spears are braced and prepared in shield wall. This should be a... Has a pretty good charge though. I guess they are a bit weakened in just 2 ranks. So they're going to take a pound of flesh as they get pulled back off there. Whittling down this cavalry, yeah, and sending them back. Embedding themselves. That seems like almost a hopeless charge right there. And the forces of Umber are really inviting the halberds to come out of this tight street. Like, hey bro, you can sit there if you want, but you're going to be peppered by missile fire. But if you come out of that street, immediately you're being charged from every single angle. And it's just a rough position to be in. With only 12 minutes left of the battle, I don't see the forces of good taking this. They are able to get a unit of their halberds, though, engaged, which is always nice. This is going to be a big, big help in the battle. Pinning down the defenders. And able to, yeah, break that cavalry, which again is going to be a big help. But yeah, this left flank, even with the archer support as well, 65 kills, and this unit's on 50 kills. It just doesn't seem like there is enough here, even with the support. Did that unit of spearmen finally make it? I assume it did, right? Maybe it got sent back. Maybe it got sent back. There's even some archers up here holding firm. Of course, they're still firing whilst their brothers are cut down from side to side. That is brutal. Yeah, the last real remnants of reserves. And yeah, as you can see, like, there's no point for these guys to hold this. They just hold this like that. Encourage these halberds forward, and there's nothing they can do. Archers are being brought up as well. I think this is a black day. Unless the cavalry can really come in and clutch it. I think this flank is going to completely collapse. But we'll have to see. Because once his arrow fire does also give up, there's really not much left. And yeah, the right flank is now crumbled. And even just stopping these archers, like throwing up the Corsairs, will be more than enough to deal with these guys. That arrow fire coming in, though, killing 15 of them in one volley. Oh, nice, though. Knights of the Silver Swan, though, able to charge in here and actually get a nice little hit off there, killing a lot of these Corsairs. And this is really what they wanted to be doing like 5-10 minutes ago. Getting this cavalry stuck in. But again, there's camel riders moving in. They get a bonus against that charge. These halberds stuck in the mob. There's nothing they can do. They can come out and get shot. Or stay there and get shot even. Or come out and get charged from every single flank. More archers being brought in. Yeah, and if we can just probably speed parts up now. A good cavalry charge here. They're still taking down a handful of these soldiers. But more cavalry being sent out. Yeah, this flank has truly crumbled. And cavalry being brought out here to surround the general of Gondor. Camel riders being sent in. I assume these horse archers are going to come around. Yeah, and the general on this flank, yeah, has been complete. I mean, it's been a bloody battle, don't get me wrong, on this flank. So many casualties. And I think the attackers really need to utilize their archers a bit more effectively. Get their archers up here a little bit sooner. And I think they're going to maybe have quelled the major Corsair archer threat that was plaguing them so effectively here. Yeah, and just more arrow fire coming in. I think that's mainly been it, just the sheer amount of firepower the missiles have. Another good charge here, rattling through Dol Amroth's archer line. And just, yeah, more archers coming down. That's really been the key to this battle. So, I mean, there's still 8 minutes left of this engagement, but I feel like Dol Amroth and Gondor just don't stand a chance. Another general being taken down there. And it is, yeah, only a matter of time. These archers still trying to rack up some kills with camel riders. And the archers coming in as well. Soldiers wrapping around. And yeah, now as we're seeing, the Umber infantry going on the offense now. Seizing victories within their grasp. Throwing in shock infantry. And a numerous amount of reserves.
Down their weapons and are fleeing.
Hold the phone though. I skipped ahead a couple minutes and I didn't really see this. The archers are pushing up and there is a unit of halberds here that can close in. And then all of a sudden, a lot of the soldiers did start to break for Umber. So hold the goddamn phone. I take back everything I said. The elite infantry have now committed, and even with this flank closing in, there is still hope in the darkness because, as we said, there are just archers here. And that is really not that much. So who knows? Unfortunately, they are fighting some fierce units. This cavalry can still rack up some decent kills. However, it's going to take a volley before being able to charge in. Losing a handful of horsemen. Now the Haradrim fighting for their lives as another arrow volley comes in. But these are just measly horse archers. They're not really designed for that big impact. The elite dismounted Knights of Imrahil up to 250 kills now. Oh my god, that is insane. They're refusing to go down. Over on this other side as well, the halberds stopping this these usurpers from committing. They're trying to kind of outflank their opponents, but to no avail. Over on this side, the men of Gondor, supported by Dol Amroth, are charging through, and they are breaking this kind of weakened force. And look at that, 2 more units have broken. Oh my god, I was so wrong about this battle. And there's barely any arrow fire still left remaining. Luckily though, Umber have been able to kind of outskirt these halberds and commit their way in against the archers. But again, the Gondorian archers can set up a nice little envelopment. Try and just like engage them from every single flank. Or even just get some like a nice little firing range. And there you go, this flank has broken. These last reserves need to be sent over here, and that's exactly what they're doing. But this could be a little bit too late. And look at that, more infantry breaking through the Knights of Imrahil, fighting with the white tree on their side. And these Corsairs are going to crumble like butter. Wow, this battle is going down to the wire. That unit count really coming into play. The shock infantry being thrown in as well is going to be a big decisive play right there. The halberds though, unfortunately not braced. That was a good charge by the Corsair Marines. But now they do get their pikes down. They're going to be able to push that back. They really need to deal with this unit of Umber usurpers. The archers coming in though, and even though this infantry is like decent infantry, enveloped army losses counting, I think we're going to see a mass rout, honestly. I think like a lot of these units just aren't that morale heavy. And I don't know, this is going to be so close. You see a lot of morale dropping for Dol Amroth though. Oh my god, I don't know who's going to take this one. I really, really don't. Either way, it's going to be a Pyrrhic victory regardless. A nice little setup here with another charge coming in. As the Corsairs come back, I can understand why Harad are doing this. They want to savor as many men as possible. Especially these ones with weak morale that are likely to break. They do not want an army-wide attrition to kind of kick in. Oh my god, and they're rushing up here to maybe take the city center. Oh, more breaks coming in, honestly. This battle could go either way. Some arrow fire, the last remnants able to break them. A good volley here though in the back, using the last of their ammunition to fire in. As more soldiers come in. How are they doing over on this flank? Yeah, they've been able to clear up this entire flank now. Only a minute left of this battle. And morale is looking shaky for both sides, honestly. I think we'll see a big break here. And that's going to free up an entire unit of dismounted Knights of Imrahil. A great charge right there. That should be enough to defeat these Haradrim glaives. Even with the cavalry coming in. The cavalry has a couple more volleys left as well. You really want to be able to utilize this, and it seems like they're trying to fall back, but this right flank is just running out of men. They have an entire unit of these Black Numenorians that I'm not going to try and pronounce because I will butcher that name. Much like the butchering is going on in this battle. The last of the Rangers being committed in here, just trying to finish off these Corsairs. The cavalry charges coming in, and morale-wise, it's not looking good for Dol Amroth. And I think, yeah, nice little counter charge here surrounding these archers. And that's going to be it, I think. The defenders holding the wall. A valiant defeat indeed. A very Pyrrhic defeat, to say the least. Massive GG there, and a great way to end that scenario battle. The last 10 minutes, I was like, oh, this battle is over. Even though my prediction was right, I mean, they did not go down without a brutal fight. So the city holds, but the scenario is over. I'm sure Aragon will send in some more forces to help quell what remnants still stays in Umber, and there is not much left there for him to quell whatsoever. With only a handful, like 1,000, 1,500 men, 1,600 men surviving, that is not much whatsoever. So massive thank you again for Bad Omens for hosting this scenario battle. Hopefully we'll get some more in the future. I really appreciate it. I'll leave a link to his Discord along with the link to download the new Dawnless Days. I need to remember saying that instead of Rise of Mordor, so make sure you go check that out. And I'll see you guys in the next one.